Okay, so I just want to give a quick and personal apology for that rant I uploaded last night. I was having an incredibly shitty day because I've been getting numerous random robotic phone calls from random states as well as companies like State Farm that I have no association with. I was worried that my phone may have possibly been hacked as a result of putting in my number on a job hunting site that I learned is actually a scam. I'm worried I might have to change my number as a result from this, which I've already had to do once 7 years ago. So I decided to let out my frustration and anger on this rant because this was something I felt the need to rant on for a while, but quite honestly, I did not like the way I sounded. This is the first rant I record in a long time with no filter and can easily say it will be the last I'll ever do. But anyway, I'm going to redo this rant now in a more civil manner and mention more topics in it. So anyway, this rant is going to be on people who judge others simply for their political views. Ever since Donald Trump came into the picture with politics in 2015, the world has just been going in a ridiculous route. I feel ever since he came in won presidency in 2016, it's brought out the worst in everyone. There have been people who have turned into self-entitled SJWs who will have a hissy fit even if you just casually disagree with them on something, turn against each other over the fact that they have different views, physically beaten up others just for having a characteristic to them like the color of their skin or gender or what they support or what they believe in, destroying property, and the list will go on and on. And given that most of these issues are grown adults in their 20s through 60s, I think it's really immature and just plain sad. Ever since the 2016 elections, I've been seeing stuff all over the internet like, unfollow me if you support Trump or Hillary, you're a white supremacist if you support Trump, you're homophobic if you eat at Chick-fil-A, you're transphobic if you're cisgendered, you're an SJW if you support the LGBT group, you're anti-Semitic if you're a Christian, and the list will go on and on. I find it to be absolutely ridiculous and immature. And it's shit like this why we now have articles like, can white people be friends with black people, or top 10 SJW moments of 2018, or can women be friends with men, and news articles and videos about people getting kicked out of their jobs or stores, or being refused service just for wearing Make America Great Again hats. I've seen with my own eyes people on both sides telling people who don't think like them to unfollow them simply for their political views, which is a huge case of bigotry and goes against political thinking. Not every person who supports Trump is a racist asshole. Not every person who supports Hillary is a crazy feminist. Not every person who supports Bernie is a crazy millennial who feels they can get what they want, and so forth. I've seen my fair share of said supporters who do act like that, but that does not mean every single one is like that. Not only is seeing this kind of behavior from people you know sad, it's also sad when you see this behavior coming from celebrities you look up to. I've seen many celebrities ranging from actors, voice actors, musicians, comedians, etc. telling their fans to unfollow them because of who they support, and it makes my blood boil. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that there have been left-leaning people and right-leaning people beating each other up simply because of their own views. I think it's ridiculous that people have lost their jobs or refused service just for wearing a piece of cloth that they clearly were not intending to hurt anyone. Even getting to the point where one left-leaning person had to rage over it in a recent video uploaded a few months ago. I forget the store name. I think it's ridiculous that there have been these stupid groups like Atifna that the media portrays as heroes who go around destroying property and harassing others. We also now have a meme called NPCs, which stands for non-playable characters, referencing background characters in video games that are programmed to say the same thing, referencing those who constantly say, "Orange Man bad!" Yes, I won't deny there are annoying anti-Trump people who are like that, but not every anti-Trump person is like that, nor is every left-leaning person. And what also bothers me is the same people who made this stupid meme are probably the same people who are just as guilty of complaining about Obama being president. It just goes to show that some people just like to believe they're above everyone else. In today's modern world with politics, I feel like we've become divided like a sports team. Oh, you can't be friends with me because you're a Trump supporter, Hillary supporter, conservative, or liberal, which basically proves that some people basically determine their friendships based on political views. Because that's all their lives revolve around. Politics. Speaking as a left-leaning person, it's shit like this why I have issues with my own party and the right. We're all very quick to jump the gun and put labels and assumptions on others when we hear things we don't like about them, when we don't know what's going on in their personal lives. It's reasons like this why I made my PSA on thinking before you speak. I am not someone who ever judges others simply for their political views unless I feel like they try and force them on me and make me think like them. I am also someone who loves and hates everyone equally regardless of what race or gender they are, and what their sexual preferences or beliefs are. I am a straight white Christian male who identifies as the same sex I was born in, and have many good friends of color, Jewish, female, bisexual, homosexual, etc., and I'm thankful to have them all in my life. My previous boss for my previous job was African American, and many of my childhood heroes are of LGBT or color. And even as someone who's fairly civil with people and doesn't purposely try and start arguments or conflicts with them, I've been called racist and sexist just because I was once a Trump supporter, or the fact that I've criticized the media for how biased they are, determining situations based on gender, skin color, or their political views, which has pretty much been proven to be a personal fact at this point. Some examples to retaliate my point. I feel there's been little to no news coverage when a white man was tied up and gagged and beaten to death by a group of Black Lives Matter protesters in early 2017. If the roles had been reversed, it would be all over the news. Another good example is how a former classmate of mine, Danny Frisiello, sent out drugs to Mr. Trump and his family early last year, and it barely made past local news. Just let that sink in. Now, before anyone jumps the gun on me, I believe any type of story of people harassing others when they're just minding their own business or not doing anything wrong is very sick and disgusting, regardless of what the color of their skin is or what gender they are or what their sexual preference is, etc. I just wish the same could be said for the media. Another thing I would like to criticize with the media is the fact that it's gotten to the point that our president has to be the biggest headliner in history, that they have to report every single thing he does, even if it's just him doing something in his private life. Oh, he eats KFC differently. He's going on a golfing trip. He's gained weight. And honestly, it's just sad and pathetic. As a left-leaning person who personally thinks Hillary is one of the saddest choices for a presidential candidate, there are times I wish she had won in the 2016 elections, given that she had both the popular votes with the polls and the electoral college polls, just so we wouldn't have to put up with this childish behavior from both protesters and Mr. Trump himself. But alas, Russia felt the need to hack the elections, and here we are now. Quite honestly, I really hope they back off in 2020 because I cannot put up with 4 more years of our Twitter tantrum throwing toddler of a president. I really think it's sad how times have changed since the 2012 elections. Even with one of the biggest scumbags like Mitt Romney running for president, it wasn't as insane as it is now. But since Trump came into the picture and showed how brilliant he is with politics, just to later on be like, oh my god, this job is so hard. No one told me that being the president is a rough job. Which really shows how inexperienced he is with politics. He's brought out the worst in everyone, including me. I was the biggest asshole in 2016 as a result of the elections and just had enough of seeing all this drama going on over who's going to be our next president. Not only that, I was close to losing a friendship with a close friend and actually lost a friendship with a friend I was once cool with, and have had labels and assumptions thrown on me as a result of it. I'm not someone who takes kindly to that either. Assuming Trump loses in 2020, I hope we can all just take a deep breath and realize just how stupid and immature we all sounded. Because here's where I'm going to be brutally honest and say this. If you're a left-leaning person and you share material that overgeneralizes conservatives negatively, or vice versa, and they defend themselves, you have no right to play the victim. If you are a woman and you share material that overgeneralizes men negatively, or vice versa, and they defend themselves, you have no right to play the victim. If you are someone of color and share material that overgeneralizes white people negatively, or vice versa, and they defend themselves, you have no right to play the victim. And at the end of the day, I just cannot put up with more childish insults like snowflake this, SJW that, homophobic this, transphobic that, etc. Anyway, this has been my personal rant about this ongoing issue, and I hope we can all learn something from listening to this. Enjoy the rest of your day.